Good morning. This is Pastor Brian. Want to thank you for joining me today as we read a chapter a day from Job. Elihu has been on this long speech, and I was wrong at the end of the last day that Elihu is going to be on chapter 36 and 37. So we get to hear him a little bit more about his wisdom that he claims he has. So I will be reading from the Common English Bible. Feel free to follow along or just listen, and let's dive into chapter 36. Continuing, Elihu said, "Wait a little while so I can demonstrate for you that there is still something more to say about God. I will draw from my broad knowledge, attribute justice to my Maker. My words are certainly truthful. One with total knowledge is present with you. Look, God is mighty and doesn't reject anyone. He is mighty in strength and mind. He doesn't let the wicked live, but grants justice to the poor. He doesn't avert his eyes from the righteous. He seats kings on thrones forever, and they are lifted up. If they are tied with ropes, caught in cords of affliction, he informs them about their offenses and their grave sins. He opens their ears with discipline and commands them to turn from wrong. If they listen and serve, they spend their days in plenty, their years contentedly. But if they don't listen, they perish by the sword, breathe their last without understanding. Those with impious hearts become furious. They don't cry out even though he binds them. They die young. They are among the holy ones. He saves the weak in their affliction, opens their ears through oppression. Surely he draws you up from the brink of trouble, to a wide place without distress. Your table is set with rich food. You are overly concerned about the case of the wicked. Justice will be upheld in it. Don't let them lure you with wealth. Don't let a huge bribe mislead you. Will he arrange your rescue from distress or from all your exertions of strength? Don't wish for the night when people vanish from their place. Take care. Don't turn to evil, because you've chosen it over affliction. Look, God is inaccessible due to his power. Who is a teacher like him? Who has repaid him for his action? And who would ever say, 'You've done wrong'? Remember to praise his work that all of us have seen. Every person has seen him. People can observe at great distance. Look, God is exalted and unknowable. The number of his years is beyond counting. He draws up drops of water that distill rain from his flood. The clouds pour moisture and drip continually on humans. Even if one perceives a spreading cloud and the thunder of his pavilion, look how he spreads lightning across it and covers the seabed. For by water he judges peoples and gives food in abundance. He conceals lightning in his palms and orders it to its target. His thunder announces it. Even cattle proclaim its rising." So what did you hear in today's chapter? What stuck out to you? What was it that made you wonder or confused you? So, tomorrow in chapter 37, his speech continues. So we just kind of stop in the middle of one of his speeches. Obviously, it's been going on for quite some time, but this is like right in the middle of one of his ideas or thought processes. So Elihu is defending God today in the way in which God disciplines people and the way in which God has God's greatness throughout the world. So because of that, because of God's greatness and God's mightiness and God's unknowable ways, he is encouraging Job to basically repent and not sin any further. And then he continues to extol God's greatness, lifts up God's greatness. about all the things that God has done, that God is, in the storm, that God is in control of all of these things, the lightning and the thunder and the seabed and the waters, and that God gives to people in abundance. So both looking for Job to just repent for his ways, for all the things that he has done wrong, and because of that saying, you need to repent because of God's greatness, God's vast greatness and kindness upon all people. So why don't you just acknowledge that greatness and acknowledge your sin? And when you do those two things, I think basically what he's saying is that life will return to normal, and you can then remember your place in life and what God has done for you, and move past this moment of tragedy. So what did you hear? What stuck out to you, as I mentioned earlier? Write them down, share them with a friend. Elihu seems to jump around quite a bit, but I think people do when they talk this long in one breath. So thank you for joining me and for listening to all of my ramblings and my long breaths as I jump around as well, and as I just kind of talk about this. All of this is a little bit off the cuff, so I am right here with you, wondering what it is that these things are being said. What is it that we are trying to learn? What is it that these people specifically are trying to say, but what this story as a whole is trying to say? So thank you for joining me today for chapter 36. Tomorrow, the conclusion of Elihu's lengthy speech. Take care. God bless you all, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.